I run a digital agency called D2ID, and it stands for D2 Integrated Digital. So we integrate into businesses and we provide them with their digital strategy. And basically we look at everything from who the audience is all the way through to how can we get them to the product. And then how can we ensure that they're so happy with the product that they'll refer us, and so on and so forth, and create that loop. So we look at the whole journey.
You touched on the fact that there are a couple of elements you have to have in place before you start advertising.
Yeah.
And we often see beauty brands start and want to start sending traffic straight to their website. So what sort of elements should a beauty brand have in place before they go down this route?
We want to understand who is the ideal client. You have clients, you have lots of people that buy from you, but who are the ones that buy from you that are the best? Who are the most profitable? Who are the kindest? Who refer you? And when you do your testing, you want to test it against those people. So that's one mechanism to try it. So sometimes you may put ads budget in very, very early on to test, but there's an exercise. You're not doing it to generate sales. When do you advertise to generate sales, and what assets do you need in place? That's very much more about, I have my brand, I'm confident in it, I have my product, people like it, I know I can sell my product, I know that I can deliver, I know that I have the capacity to deliver. And at this stage, I've made some sales, I've made some sales face-to-face, I've made some sales by going in and speaking to people, other people have made some sales on my behalf. At that point, you can start to think about advertising. But we once worked with a client, and this is a very good example, and they wanted to digitally advertise. They wanted to grow. They had a product, it was a beauty product, and they wanted to take that product and they wanted to really scale it online. But at the same time, they also had a relationship with a very, very well-known UK retailer, very prestigious. And that retailer said, look, you can come and put a stand in the middle of our floor in front, around all the other sort of beauty retailers, a pop-up stand for 1 week, and let's see how it goes. Let's see how that journey goes. And then we may stock you depending on how that goes. This is amazing, but they didn't sell one product. They stood on the floor of this huge footfall. They didn't sell a product.
Wow.
And they were having conversations with people, they were talking with people, but their product was very complicated. It fitted a very niche market. You really had to understand it, and you had to go on a journey to buy it. It was very complex. So for us to now take that and market it digitally, where we can't even have a conversation with someone, it's almost going to be 10 times as hard. If you can't sell your product face to face, you're going to find it very hard to sell it online without that conversation. Because face to face, people can tell you about their problems. They can tell you about their fears. They can tell you about their concerns. They can tell you about their pain points. And you can answer those questions and adjust it. Online, you've got to predetermine what all of that is. So it's a much harder journey. So I think when it's right is when you're able to sell your product and you're making sales by other means.
Yeah.
When you're making sales by other means, and you feel, now we're ready to scale, now we're ready to go, that's a good time to start to think about paid advertising, unless you're going to do it for research purposes. But otherwise, what you'll find is you will spend an awful lot of money, and you will realize that there are problems with the product, but problems that you could have found out by standing on a street with your product and asking people.
Yeah.
And also, I would say an exchange of money has to occur. So going and standing on the street and asking people if they would buy your product is very different to actually getting them to give you money for the product. So one thing I'd say is when you're testing to see if your product's viable and you think, I'm just going to do a little test. I've heard what this guy said. I'm going to do a little test. I'm going to ask some people if they'd buy it. I can almost guarantee you, most people say, yes, that sounds amazing. But you tell them, okay, well, give me some money and I'll give you the product. And excuses will start to occur, or until you're actually earning real money and you've got that money, it's not viable. And that's the biggest tell, when money is exchanged. Okay. So when you start to generate revenue out of it, I feel then you can start to think about digital advertising.